I want you to know that I and Marie, Jill, Sharon, anyone in this group that has succeeded is no different than you. I was 28. I used to be in the accounting world. I like to say I cheated college. I couldn't afford to go to college full time, so I went to half a day to high school and a half day to college in my junior and senior year in high school. And I went at night and on weekends, and I skipped the first 2 years of school, of college, and I went right for my major. And I went to my jobs, the job interview with my transcripts and my experience. I worked in an accounting office at the age of 15 at a bank. I had my first checking account at the age of 15. So yes, I've been a little bit of an overachiever all my life. Okay. You know what, I'm the fourth of 5 daughters, and 2 of my sisters went off to college, got married halfway through, never finished, so by the time number 4 came along, my dad says, I'm not doing this. Okay, and I'm the one that really deserved it, okay? Anyway, so here I was, 28 years old. My son was very, very ill from the time he was 10 days old till 11 months old. They thought he had cystic fibrosis. He was in a state of pneumonia for 11 months. We almost lost him 4 different times. It was a tough year. The insurance company paid all but $27,000. 5 specialists later, it was a milk allergy. That's it. I did ask for a refund, but they said no. Okay. But I knew my baby was going to be okay. But I also didn't know how we were going to pay this bill. And my husband, being male, you know, the guys are logical, he said we're going to forego Christmas. This is about the middle of August, 1986. Minimum wage was $3.65. So if I went to the mall, I was going to make $16 an hour. Okay? A night, excuse me, thank you. And so here was my criteria. I didn't want to work Wednesday. My daughter Chrissy and I, who was 7 at the time, had an evening at church, you know, every Wednesday night. I didn't want to work Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I wanted to make at least $10 an hour to walk out the door because, you know, I mean, I was an accountant, right? And then I didn't want a boss, and I didn't want to train anybody, and I was quitting in 3 months. and my husband said, oh, the grocery store manager's going to love you, okay? So I knew I was looking for something real specific. I looked into 4 direct sales companies, winnowed it down to 2, sent my best friend 2 invitations for the same party, for the same night for the 2 different parties. Now you have to understand, I lived in a less than 1,000 square foot home. My husband said it was 1,000 square foot, but I don't really believe him. Anyway, and she said, Nancy, if you put 2 demonstrators in your house, you wouldn't have room for people. What are you doing? I said, I can't make a decision. Which one would you go to? And and she said, oh my gosh, if you're even thinking about direct sales, you need to look into a company called The Pampered Chef. It was the best evening I spent away from my family, encouraging me and my family, okay? And I thought, man, what kind of direct sales company can do that? She called her friend to get the phone number. It was a year and a half ago when she went to the show. She didn't have a business card with her, but the host did. The host knew that. It's my very first tip. How many of you do not have business cards? Raise your hands. All right. Very first thing you need to do tomorrow, if you're in business, be in business. Business cards. I started through someone's business card. Had that person been still working 4 years into my business, the one that recruited me, she would have earned $60,000 that year just from my team. If you're going to be in business, business cards, number 1. Okay. The next thing is I looked at the next really, really important tip is the woman finally called me 2 weeks later with the person's name. I'm sure she wasn't looking the whole time, but she finally called me, and so I called the lady to bring the stuff over. Now there was no 800 number, there's no catalog. I couldn't find Pampered Chef in the phone book. There wasn't even internet, okay? This was in the dark ages. Okay. So anyway, really, really important thing. From the time that I called her to the time she was at my house, it was 24 hours. You need to get to people within 24 to 48 hours. Otherwise, their mother-in-law will get to them first. And I'm not kidding you. Someone will talk them out of becoming the Tupperware lady. Okay? Because that's what my family, anybody get flack from their family for doing this? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. Yeah, I can't believe you're even thinking about being the Tupperware lady. I said, not the Tupperware lady. Okay. So anyway, she came over. I loved everything. And back then, you had two different ways to join the company. You paid $125 for $250 worth of products, or you paid $400 for the whole line, which was $800 worth of products. I paid $400. How many of you would have paid $400? Oh, good. Most people. Well, we are in New York, okay? Usually, no hands go up, okay? But seriously, I was needing to make money for Christmas, and I was going to spend $400. But I could see that this would be something I could do 1 or 2 nights a week. And then I talked to my husband, and we realized that 2 nights a week would work with our family. So I started booking 2 nights a week. Okay. Now my plan was to work that fall. I worked my plan. If you know about accountants, they have a plan, they work the plan, they finish the plan, they're done with the plan. Okay. So I am an oxymoron standing in front of you, an accountant who sells things. Okay. Don't just call me a moron though. Okay. So anyway, I'm done in December, and I paid off some of the doctor bills. We had a great Christmas, and I was done. In my head, I was done. All the people at my sales meeting, at that time it was just women, they knew I was coming with leads to the sales meeting and to say goodbye. Okay. So it's January 15th. I'm walking out the door. I have 76 leads in my hand of people who wanted shows. I had 16 things by my 3rd show without asking. Make them have fun and make them want you. Seriously, make them want you. Make them invite you into their home. All right? By having fun every single time you go out and do a show. I had 76 leads to give to my friends. And I said to my husband, I'm giving away a business right now. And he said, Nancy, I've put the babies to bed since the day they were born. His dad was missing in action, not from the war, just from his choices. And so it was really important for him to have a really great relationship with the kids. And so he said, I put them to bed anyway. If you want to continue to do this, he says, you've been happy doing it. It's fine with me. And in fact, I don't want you to put it into our budget so that you have the freedom to quit at any time. You see, we were really poor. We took everybody's old couches. Like, I had a new couch every 6 months. Because anytime anybody's getting rid of anything, they called. We were like Salvation Army. You call them to pick things up, you called Nancy and Rich, okay? Anytime anybody was selling a car. Because we made a decision for me not to work so that one of us could always be home with the kids. And we knew that someday we would have nice things. Someday we would travel. Little did we know. Little did we know. But we had made conscious decisions to stay home, for one of us to always be home with the kids. And my husband had a struggling business, okay? So we were poor, okay? I can't say that word enough. But I just said, okay, I knew I'd be constructive, and I thought, boy, I could help with those medical bills, things like that. So in my mind, I started my business in January of 1987. I was earning Christmas money in the fall. I started a business in January. So you understand that? By the way, the people were not very happy with my decision to stay. I did give a bunch of people leads, okay? But one other thing I want to tell you, I'm going to share my first 4 years of income with you because I want you to see how a business grows when you do the right things. But one of the things I want you to know is not one time did someone come up to me and ask me about the business, and not one time did I ask anyone about the business, because remember, I didn't want to be a boss and I didn't want to be responsible to anyone because I was going to be leaving. Now, from my very first show in January, making $60 a night, because our party average was $275, Whose party average is higher than mine? Go ahead, say it. Come on, I know you're all up there, go on. Not that my party average now, my party average back then. Who has a party average higher than $275? Yes, absolutely. That was the company party average. So all these numbers would be double today.
But $60 a night instead of 16.
Was huge money. And I want you to know I recruited more people when I made $60 a night than I do today. All right? I also want you to know I was so insecure about myself and felt so bad about myself that I didn't even go to my high school reunion, and I was a class officer in high school. Okay? I was in a really low place. This business not only provides income for our families, provides ideas for dinners, but it also builds us as people, doesn't it? How many people think that they're better, more self-esteem, better in their head everywhere because of Pampered Chef? Absolutely. I know I am. It changed my life in so many ways I can't even tell you. Okay, my first year of business, I know this is kind of hard to see. Marie, can you hold it up? My first year in business, I earned $14,700. My paycheck grew like this, $350. This wasn't my sales, this is my paycheck. $442, $767. I recruited 5 people in 3.5 weeks. There was no recruiting tapes, and by the way, the most anyone had ever recruited in a year, company was 7 years old when or 6.5 years old when I started, was 7 in a year. I did 11 in 4 months. I wasn't the most popular girl on the block. But I want you to know, in 1 month's time, any one of you could recruit 5 people and become a director if you've got 2 shows a week on your calendar. 2 shows a week. 10 hours a week to put into your business, including time. That's including director time. Anybody have that kind of time? Anybody? Anybody have a desire to become a director? Awesome. You got some work to do, girls. Okay. All right. So here we go. I became a director on April 1. Now my check is $639, $874, $1,279, $1,218, $1,242, $1,202. Uh-oh. It's October. It's $2,110. Nice. 1987. $2,000. You weren't getting that at a full-time job, were you? Absolutely not. $2,300 and then $1,482. My first year was $14,700. My second year, 17, 23, 12, 12, 17, 16, 15, 18, 14, 17, 12, 26, $3,000. In 2 months' time, I made $5,000. That was a little unheard of back then. A little unheard of, okay? I didn't have to take off my clothes or sell drugs. Which, even back then, that was a really good thing, okay? So in my second year, I made $26,500 working 2 nights a week and helping others work 1 to 2 times a week, okay? Now, my third year, 1995, 1,600, 2,400, 2,400, 33. I became an advanced director. Chris Mannion, anybody know that name? She was my first director, and Marie Friday was my second director. Okay, so we have been together, friends, trip mates, girlfriends for 26 years. Again, another benefit that you get in this business is you get lifelong friends. I don't know any company that's as good as ours when it comes to that. Okay, so now